Hello and welcome to the Heart of the Matter. My name is Adeolu and this is...
And I'm Iniabasi.
And today we have some really interesting guests coming in with us today. I think we've got Iniabasi and Femi Leye. One of the things that I'm excited about when it comes to our guests are, especially with Ini, when I first heard her story, I did not know what to expect. I learned, do not judge a book by its cover. Like, you look and you're like, oh, nice young lady. So you're like, okay, she hasn't been through stuff. And then you hear it and I was like, your chest just kind of beats. So I'm excited to really be able to dig into that because apart from people going through stuff, we don't want that to seem as if that is someone's entire story. People live lives before that and after it, and not being defined by what you've gone through, I think is a huge thing.
I'm always interested in the redemption story and like what happened before, but what it looks like now, especially when people actually get into relationships and then it's going to be a different interaction, different conversation.
Yeah. So that's one thing that I'm really excited to talk to Femi about is actually the process of what it was like courting and being sensitive to what she's going through, but seeing more than that.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a quick break and then we're going to get back to it and we're going to be sat down, or I'm going to be sat down with both Iniabasi and Femi Leye. So thank you very much. Come back. Hello and welcome back to the Heart of the Matter. I'm right here with Iniabasi and Femi Leye. I'm so happy to have you guys here with me.
We're happy to be here.
Because I think, I say happy, you say you're so happy to have this conversation, but it's like going to be a heavy conversation. Yeah. But at the same time, it's important to have these conversations. I'm going to dive right into the heart of the matter. So, Ini, I want you to tell me in the best way that you know how your story. Just go. just.
Okay. Well, in a nutshell, I was kidnapped and raped. How it happened was that so this was 2014, 4 years ago. Yeah. 4 years ago now. Yes, the time flies. 4 years ago, March 29th, 2014. So my siblings and I, and some of my sister's friends, some of my friends as well, we were at a restaurant. We went to celebrate my sister's birthday. Her birthday had been on the 20th, but it was during a weekday. Yeah. So we decided to do it on a weekend, on a Saturday. So we're at this restaurant. And the restaurant doesn't exist anymore. Imagine that, Piccolo Mundo in VI. For the longest time, I couldn't remember it. You know, sometimes when you suppress things from your memory. Yeah. Anyway, so we were there and towards the evening time, we went to, I stepped out to get credits. And I was with my phone, I was with my wallet, my office pass, and that's all I was with. But then my friend followed me because she wanted to see the pictures and videos I had made of her. She was learning how to dance salsa. So I gave her my phone. I'm like, I'm not going far anywhere. I just want to get credit from a vendor that's just around the corner. It wasn't even like around, it was just there. Yeah. So I went to get credits and this car pulls up beside me. There are two men inside the car. One of them gets down. It's a big guy. He's dark. He was wearing glasses. And they're both holding guns. And then he asked me to get into the car. But then I these things don't happen to you every day. So I hesitated because I'm just like, what's going on here? What's this? So he cocked his gun and then I knew, he was serious. And then I got into the car. The funny thing is, every time I remember that part of the story, I think about the number of people who were around, who were in the environment, who were the vendors selling credits, the other people passing, the people walking by, and nobody moved, nobody said a thing, which leads me to believe that this sort of thing happens, regularly. Anyway, so I got in the car and we were just going. They're asking me questions. They asked me where I worked, who I was, asked me what I was doing in VI. And so I was just like, okay, if I answer these guys' questions, they would just let me go. Eventually, they'll ask me for money. And I only had 2,700 and 700. Oh my God, I had the number down pat. 2,000. was 2,700 and was it 25 naira? I know I know there was 5 naira in my wallet. I don't know where it came from, but there was 5 naira. Anyway, so eventually, so they asked me where my office was. I directed them that, oh, my office is around here. It's not too far from here. So we went there. We entered that road. We drove by, and I was just like, I was thinking they were asking me where my office was because they were going to drop me there. So I was like, I'm coming down here. They started laughing. So they said she's coming down here, and they just sped past it. And that's when I knew that I was in trouble. So I tried to open. Okay, so the guy, the big guy, maneuvered his way to the back. So it was both of us at the back. The elderly man was driving, and they kept asking me to close my eyes. I would close my eyes, but eventually I would open it because I want to see where I was going, you know. And it was really annoying them. So the big guy kept beating me around. Like when I say busy, he was beating me like I was a child, slapping me, knocking me. In fact, so he took my wallet. So he asked me for my phone. I wasn't with my phone, which I know it was a good thing because usually when you're in situations of kidnap, they begin to call everybody on your phone. So they hold you and they ask for ransom. So I wasn't even prepared to think about how far this was going to go, but I was just praying. And somewhere in my mind I was just pleading the blood of Jesus. I was just pleading the blood of Jesus because I just remember people's testimonies, how people say, I call the name of Jesus, or I plead the blood of Jesus, and something miraculous just happened, but no, nothing happened. And so we were around Bar Beach. I remember where he eventually did rape me. And we stopped at a traffic light, and I remember just blanking my mind. And I was looking out the window. I remember there was a bus somewhere, and people were rushing to board the bus. And I actually, when I think about how ironic it is, or it was, that was happening, and life was just moving along, just so ordinarily. So after everything, he told me to dress up. He asked me if I had a boyfriend. And I said no, I just broken up with my boyfriend the previous month. And he asked me what happened. I told him everything. He said my boyfriend was a wicked guy. So anyway, so we went. So he dropped me 2 streets behind my office at the time because I remember that was where my auntie worked at the time. And I remember, so I when I came down, he gave me 275 naira to be going to where I was going. Yes, it was 2,275 naira, I remember now. He gave me my office pass, gave me my wallet, So he came down, maneuvered to the front, opened the car. Because I had tried to open the door, but he told me it wasn't working. They must have had some kind of child lock on it. So he opened the door, and I got down. I intended to walk to my office, but I was shaking so much that I knew that I was crying. I was crying. I was sobbing, and I just saw this yellow cab at the side of the road, and he drove me. I directed him to my office, and I just put all the money I had on the dashboard. Like, this is all I have. And he kept asking me, throughout the short journey, what is wrong, my child? Why are you crying? And I got in the office. I saw 2 of my colleagues. I begged one of them to take me back to the restaurant, and I got back there. The whole world. I had been gone for 5 hours. The whole world was looking for me. Everyone was looking for me. Everybody was outside, including the owners of the restaurant. Everybody. My sister had called the last few people I had spoken to. Those ones had come. They weren't there. They weren't at the party, but they had come, And then when eventually they saw me, people started going home because, okay, she's back. People just assumed I went somewhere, until everybody. I remember when I got down I just told my colleagues to move forward away from the crowd, and I got down and I saw one of my family friends. She was there. She was praying, and I remember she hugged me. She was like, "Oh my God, Inis, it's God that brought you back." I was praying, and then I just whispered in her ear because I couldn't even believe it, just saying it. And I just dropped to the floor, and she held me till I sat on the curb, and I was just there, just crying. I was just looking. But the horrific experience, I think for me, not even the act that had happened, the most painful part of the whole night was watching my siblings find out one by one what had happened, and watching all their reactions and everything. And yeah, my life just became a roller coaster from there.
Because in my head, there's, how you hear these kind of things and you think, you hear this story about this person, it's okay, this person that this happened to. Mm-hmm. And I've been reading a lot about it when it comes to people like Rahab in the Bible. They often associate people by what they were, what they did, or what happened to them. And it's like you're so much more than that. And for me, it's that polarizing difference between your life the moment before and the moment after. And I guess that's also what you say is the deepest part of it, because watching your siblings hear it, it's that polarizing thing for them as well, of the switch from we were just celebrating.
Exactly, you know, and sometimes sometimes I think about the last moment of what's the word now, of normalcy that they had right before they found out where I'd been and what had happened. My brother wasn't even around. He was just getting to the venue. He didn't even know I had been missing. And I remember he just got to the venue. He saw me sitting in front. He was like, why are you sitting here? What's wrong with you? And it shook me, because I'm like, oh my God, you are just about to find out what had happened to me. And I was like, nothing, I'm just waiting. And he said, okay, waiting for, I was like, I'm on the phone. And he said, okay, my phone wasn't even with me. And then he went and he came back. You know, he just found out that I had been missing. And then he came, he was like, are you okay? I was like, yeah, I'm fine. And then he was the last person to find out. When he eventually did find out, we now couldn't find him because he went to go and sit down somewhere. I was crying. But yeah.
So we've spoken, and I know there's the huge sense of normalcy before and how much it must have changed your life after. But for me, I want to ask for you, right? When did you guys meet? And
so we met in 2013.
13, yeah, a year before.
She was still an intern at the radio station where she eventually became an OAP. And I was there with another artist friend for a radio session. You know, basically, we were going there to play for her. And that was the first time I saw her.
And Femi didn't look at me. There was one of that girl there. She had big bum bum. Femi was looking at that girl. He collected her number.
What that girl looks like, her name and everything about, I can't remember. I'm just a very friendly guy.
I will tell her children.
So, you know, I was there that day. You know, I saw her, and I came, I think, 2 weeks after for my own session at the station also. You know, but I was just very, you know, very nice. Yeah, and I told her, okay. I searched for her on Facebook then, and you know, and then on Twitter.
You're stalking.
And then, you know, we just exchanged numbers, and that was it. You know, for a while, and then she discovered my music by herself and started playing it. So I was like, who is this person that is helping my life? You know, because you know the way it is, because my kind of music, people don't really, let's leave that one shot. So
people
we started.
Didn't used to.
People didn't used to, but now, yeah, they
Exactly.
do. So we started talking, and you know, she's, do you have any other music? Because she was playing a particular song. I said, yes. So I went to the station, gave her a CD, and we just started talking, and then we became friends. So 2013, 2014, I realized that major part of 2014, you know, I'll try and call her, you know, sometimes she'll pick up, sometimes she will not, you know, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. We share friends, and that was it, you know.
I was just trying to get my life back on track.
Yeah.
I didn't know he had funny feelings.
So I started developing funny feelings from afar. And I told myself that if I wasn't sure of what I was feeling, I wasn't going to open my mouth, you know, because at that time, you know, me too, I have gone through my own fair share of relationship drama, and it was very, very toxic. So I was like, now it's Femi Leye and music, nothing else.
So when you did become romantic, like, what was it like for both of you? I mean, for you, I guess considering what she had gone through, the approach, was there a pushback?
You know it was pushback from that point to you know, eventually the day she told me was Christmas of 2014 or
2015.
2015. Christmas of 2015.
That was my final tactic of
To push
trying
me
to
off.
push him away. I just felt like, you know, this is the final blow. If I give him this one, he will leave me.
This guy.
I sat him down. I told him everything about my life, every person I had become. I told him everything I had done. I was like, look, this is who I am. This is what my life has been like. Blah blah blah. You think I'm this good girl? I'm not. And you know, my brother said, let's pray.
We're going to go deeper into this, and I guess as you became a couple and your relationship grew and what your ministry has grown into as a couple, we'll talk more about that after the break. So we're going to take a quick break, and please come back and join us as we continue talking with Iniabasi and Femi Leye.
I could feel myself falling, like saying, bro, you're falling. Wow, you're falling. This guy, you are actually falling down, oh. This stuff that you see on TV is happening to you. God is real.
Who are you?
Why are you black?
Welcome to the heart of the matter.
The whole world was looking for me. She called me, she's like, oh my God, Ines, it's God that brought you back. And I just dropped to the floor.
I'm going to dive right into the heart of the matter.
What are your thoughts on Canada?
My thoughts on Canada?
Yeah.
Real random.
I'm really so excited today.
Just a tad.
Very passionate about leveling the playing field. Listening is not the only aspect of communication.
I believe that the solution is from the bottom up. If you don't talk now, you talk later.
There's glory. There's glory.
So let's break it down.
You can advertise your businesses, brands, and events on the Heart of the Matter. For more information, please send an email to hotmpr@gmail.com.
Hello and welcome back to the heart of the matter. I'm Adiolu and I'm still here with Iniabasi and Femi Leye.
Yeah,
That consistency, that presence in the midst of all the pushback. What was that like? Were there times where you were like, can I continue to deal with this person? Because that what I deem as this partnership and what it's grown into and the ministry behind it, it comes a lot from the support system that you were able to provide, I guess, in that process. So how did you know?
Okay, so, for any guy, I think the average number, I think sometimes it takes like a month, you've been chasing a girl and she's not giving and it's so funny because I've never really chased a girl before. I've had girlfriends, but I've never really chased a woman.
I feel like God was also trying to teach you something. Like,
It wasn't. I've always been a very cool, calm guy, but I was very shy. I couldn't really talk to women, so that was probably my number one problem, But when it came to her, I was hell bent. Like, yo, I'm going to get you, and I kept myself, like this is the person I'm going to just focus on. I wanted to be sure that the feeling was genuine first. Then I started the pursuit, and I told a lot of friends, home and abroad, and I can tell you that 99.999% of everybody that I spoke to said, "What are you waiting for? Leave her, Joe. You're a good guy." People even started hooking me up with girls in the UK, and I would not return their calls.
My
I was
God.
like, I brought chicks, IGJP, and all these things.
Oh,
my life is
God.
gonna. But I knew something was there, and I remember there was a time I told my friend Titi Lope and her husband Williams that I'm going to embark on 21 days fasting and prayer. That I need to pray about this woman. And I told her also.
He told me.
And I told her why I was going to go and pray. So
No, but I didn't know I was part of the prayer. He just told me he's going to go and pray about
Oh, yeah,
his life.
that's
He
true.
wants to talk to God about, organizing his career and his future. He put it as future. I was like, okay.
So I
someone.
went away for a while, just went to a place, and I was praying for, I fasted and I prayed, and I came out very skinny. I was skinny before, so if you see, and so I just came with this confidence that God told me already that it's settled. So regardless of what she does, what God told me was, see, this verse of scripture, husband, love your wife like Christ loved the church. So it doesn't mean she will love you, just love her. It does not matter what she's doing. It doesn't concern you. Your job is to love and love unconditionally. So when I got that word, I was like, okay, sure. So I started moving up, started talking to her again, and eventually, I remember I did the concert in 2015, and at the hotel, and she came.
Album launch?
My album launch, yeah. My first major concert. Well, okay, album launch, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was at the poolside, and it was a great time. My parents were there, my siblings were there, she was there, some of our friends, people were there, And after everything, I went to meet her and said, "Whoa, Ogbeni."
He threatened me.
Say, tell me whether you are doing or you are not doing, so that I know what I'm doing in my life. Because you cannot be dragging me along. You
was
cannot
really
be,
shocked, though.
what's all
Shocked.
this? It's not, getting a woman is never a problem for me. So so we spoke that night. I think that was the first time she really saw the genuine, because the part of me that she saw was like, this guy is always goofy, he's always playing. I don't think he's a serious guy. He does not have a car, he does not have a house. I was cutting. So, like, I had If
But
you
no, babe, no.
I know.
See, the thing
I'm
is,
talking about it from my
this-
perspective, not from
because
yours.
no, let me defend myself.
No, there's no need
Because
to
the thing is,
defend.
the fact that he didn't have a car or a house, it didn't. Those things have never fazed me. Like I've always told you, even if we're living in a one-bedroom apartment, I'm fine so long as you are someone that I consider I could live with. But the problem at the time was, I was. First of all, yes, I was clouded by, the fact that he was very extremely different from all the guys I mean, someone was by me Benz. Was different from Femi. Me and Femi used to climb bike together. It's extremely 2 worlds apart. But then it was, and carry on. Let me not.
So as I was
your
saying,
parade.
I didn't have all of that, but I knew that I had a future, so I was helping, but I was still going on. So we had a conversation that night, and then she realized my mindset, my love for God, my love for family, my love for what I do, my music, and all that. And it was a serious conversation. There was no laughs.
I think that was when everything changed.
That was when everything changed for her.
Yeah.
And she started realizing, oh, okay, I think there must be there's something here. And I think January of the next year, it seemed as if she was going to say yes to me. And eventually in February, she now said yes.
So, going on, you guys encountered and gone into this relationship, and you also have, I want to know how you define this ministry that you have, because there's so much impact from it and so much importance to it. So how would you define this ministry and how it works as a couple? It's not your ministry, it's your ministry.
Well, okay. Well, the way we see it and the way we heard it from God is, at first we didn't even know what it was, honestly. I just knew that God had called me to share my story, and eventually He is a part of my story. So, at first that's what it was at first. But then we realized that what it is, in totality is that this world is going crazy. It has been crazy, but it's even getting worse. And God has called us to be a light of love, to show that, this love that God had actually ordained to be between husband and wife, regardless of what you guys have gone through, regardless of your backgrounds or your cultures, it does exist. It should exist because God has ordained it. And, basically the light of love is supposed to give hope to people who have gone through things, people who have been married and and probably lost it or just seemed like it's not something, because we hear a lot of stories, people who are married and they just tell you that the first few years are fine, after that it dies. But we know that that's not the case. We've been married for a couple of months, but we know that there are things that God has shown us and has told us, and even things that we've been through. We know that, this love does stand a test of time because God does. So basically that's it in a nutshell.
I think that was the basis of our marriage, because see, and this goes out to anyone that's trying to get married. You don't get married because you want to have children or you want to have sex. You get married because there's a purpose.
That's part of the.
So there was a serious divine purpose that we got from God, and that was the reason why we got married. Like you hear in the entertainment industry that by the time you get married, your career will go down.
A lot of people are afraid.
Nobody will call you for shows anymore. Who do you think you are? It's a lie. It's a huge lie. And I've seen, in the last few months, I've seen God work in amazing ways in my life, in our life, and together, as a couple. And we, more than ever, we know the reason why we've been called to do this, and we just want to be light, to people. At the end of the day, you might have gone through a lot of things, because she. Our own story started in 2014, right? My story started in 1994. And imagine, 20 years after, there's this connection at the end of the day, and now led to this. And I realized that our stories actually joined together. There was a divine purpose. There was a reason why those things happened at the time that they did, and there is a reason why we are here now. So no matter where you are or what you think about your life, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and it can work, and it will work. The first thing is just believe in God. Very, very important. You can't say I'm getting into a marriage and it's just by your power.
It's more believing in God and embracing God's love. That's, I would say, because as he was talking, I was really trying to say, I didn't really put it in a nutshell. If I was to put it in a nutshell and if I was to define it, that's what we are called to do, to teach people and to be examples of the fact that you can, you believe in God and embrace his love, because they're two different things. Even as, believers of God, you can believe in God, and then it's, sometimes we find it hard to embrace the love of God. But the truth is that in everything you go through, not even just in marriage, in traumatic experiences, in day-to-day life, the glue that holds everybody, that keeps everybody together, is actually love. The Bible says that perfect love casts out all fear, casts out every single thing. Once you embrace the fact that once you embrace the understanding of the depth of God's love, there's actually no fear that you can have concerning anything.
Can I just say, for me, what stands out just from hearing you speak also earlier about the beauty of purpose, because it's so funny, because you were in the car and you were praying. You say you hear stories of people praying and, everything changes and something. They just change their mind and things stop, and that didn't happen. And it's funny how, to me, the thing that can seem like the most catastrophic event is the thing that led to the most beautiful event. Because without if you prayed and it's kabashed and they stopped and they changed their mind and nothing happened, you'd have had this great joy at being able to go out of the situation unscarred. But this purpose and this unity and this relationship and everything coming together, it was born out of that fire. And so that understanding that sometimes you can go through what seems like the worst thing. What I've learned so much about God is often in the thing that is the worst thing, that it's you don't grow in comfort, right? So you go into the thing that seems the most damning, the most painful, the worst possible thing, and that is what brings you to this place where you now have this partner and these partners that you're sharing your lives with, you're sharing purpose with, you're understanding God with, and I think that it's incredibly beautiful. Before we take a break, I want to ask you kind of what you feel, because you've been standing there, you've been listening, you've heard the conversation. What do you think has been the thing that has stood out to you from their story?
Thank you so much for sharing. I feel like no matter how many times you share, that's still a very vulnerable place for you to come and share that with us. There are many things that stood out to me, but one thing maybe you didn't really highlight was even before God brought you back to the place of redemption, or when you were sharing the very detailed experience of what happened, one thing that really hurt me to the core was when you just said, and people just stood there. Because a lot of times that's what I see, that all these things are happening and life is just happening around. I've had so many experiences where it's like, can't you see what's happening? And people just stand there and don't say anything. And I think that...
When Jesus was on his way to Calvary, there's so many people standing there, and they did nothing. People, not just the accusers, but people who knew what was right and people who could have actually stopped it. The last person he went to, the last head of state, was it Pilate or was that? Let me not. The last person, anyway, could have stopped it. He actually wanted to, but because so by that, I will just tell you that don't ever live your life by the reactions of people to what you are going through. That's why the Bible says you focus on God, the author and finisher of your life, because he's the only one that can never let you down, who would see you in a place like that and bring you out of it, make sure that you don't go. Because one of the major testimonies, aside from the redemption stories, I didn't die. I could have died. They were plotting my death, but I didn't. So in everything, God is still in the middle of it. So yes, you go through not just a situation like rape, but other instances where people are standing by, people can see you going through things and they do nothing about it. But you don't live your life by them. If they knew better, they would do better.
Thank you once again for watching Heart of the Matter. Please don't forget to follow us on our social media channels at HOTM TV on Instagram, HOTM TV on Facebook, and HOTM channel on YouTube. See you next time.